On the 22nd of July 2009, Microsoft released Windows 7. It was an overhauled, fixed version of its troubled forerunner Windows Vista. It had many new UI and under-the-hood changes compared to Vista, and it was basically a much more stabilised and more reliable operating system. So 10 years and 6 months later, on the 14th of January 2020, Microsoft will end support for Windows 7. This means they will no longer receive security or system updates. So this video will address what users of Windows 7 can do today and possible options for keeping their system safe in the future. So what can users of Windows 7 do now? Well, there are basically two options. The first one being upgrade, the second one being delay the inevitable and then upgrade. And I'll discuss both of them, because if you're not ready to upgrade at the moment, then that's fine. But there are a few things you can do to slightly sort of delay this. Obviously, security updates will be stopped, and I believe there are some companies which actually pay Microsoft to continue to give them security updates. I don't know how accessible that is to the everyday user though, so I'll assume that nobody has access to it. So there are two options basically for users of Windows 7. They are to upgrade to Windows 10 Home Edition or Windows 10 Professional Edition. Now the Home Edition is $119.99 and the Professional is $219.99. That is in Great British Pounds Sterling. And the other alternative is Linux. Now the vast majority of Linux operating systems are free, and the two that I'm going to be discussing today are Zorin OS and Ubuntu. So Zorin OS, it hosts a user interface which will be familiar to most Windows 7 users. It has similar layouts and works with computers that are up to 10 years old with its Lite edition. Now it does have an Ultimate edition which is paid for, but I'm pretty sure that all of the other versions are free, including the Lite version. And Ubuntu is completely free for everyday users. So Ubuntu has a sophisticated UI and can be easily learned. It has everything that one would expect of an operating system, and is well suited for slightly more modern computers though. So maybe Zorin OS Lite would be a better option for those whose Windows 7 machines were made just after it was released. Now, delaying the inevitable, sticking with Windows 7, this brings up a few little issues. So security, Microsoft Security Essentials will no longer be supported shortly after the end of life for Windows 7. And there are a few alternatives though. There is Avast Free Antivirus, which I've used on older computers and has always proved to be very good. The same can be said for Malwarebytes, which I've also been using on older computers, and it is great. They both have very good detection rates, especially Malwarebytes, and I've been using them for years, so they're pretty good. Now, program compatibility. So browsing the web, Mozilla Firefox will probably support Windows 7 for the longest period of time, as it was for Windows XP and Windows Vista after their support ended, because they released an extended support version for XP and Vista users, and that lasted, I think it was until about 2016. So for XP that would have been like 2 years later, which isn't bad. I think it might have been later than that actually, maybe 2017. But anyway, Mozilla Firefox has always been good for supporting legacy systems. Now Google Chrome, that will most likely drop support about a year or so after Windows 7 support ends, because they did the same thing with Windows XP and Vista. And productivity wise, so Microsoft Office 2016 is the latest version you can use with Windows 7. But there is also LibreOffice, which is free, and the latest version is compatible with Windows 7 at the time of recording, so you can sort of expect support for that to last about another year. Now, gaming, Steam still supports Windows 7 at the time of recording, and as for the games it hosts, that's a mystery. Probably not long though. So after a few years, less and less programs will provide support for Windows 7 as companies move to newer technology. So it's most probably a good idea to think about upgrading soon, and if you're still using Windows 7, it's probably good to switch to either, as I said, Linux, which in most cases is free, Windows 10, or just get another computer altogether, because at the end of the day, these old machines, the hardware will start to wear out, and then you'll get hardware failure, and it's probably best to actually upgrade the physical hardware that you have sooner rather than later, because of that. But that being said, these are all just suggestions, so I have got the link to the Zorin OS video in the description and the Ubuntu demonstration. So yeah, I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your days, mornings, evenings, or nights. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.